Good morning, everyone. Today is lesson 11 for our multiplication series of lessons. Yesterday we started to look at what we'd need to do if we had too many tens in our tens column and where we'd need to exchange them to. We discovered that we need to exchange them to the hundreds column before we could solve the number problem. At the end of yesterday's lesson, I told you that there was a challenge question and I want you to solve the number problem 4 times 72. So let's have a look at this question for today, and this will be the basis of today's lesson. So once again, we do the same as we've always done. We partition to our tens and ones. Using our existing knowledge of 4 times 7, we may recognize that we will need to exchange from the tens into the hundreds. So when we draw our arrays, they will have that extra column in. And remember, even if you don't need to exchange in the end from the tens to the hundreds, it won't hurt having the hundreds column drawn. It just won't get filled in later on. So don't worry if you draw the hundreds and you find out that you didn't actually need it. You then start to complete. So it'll be 4 multiplied by 70, which is in the tens column, 4 multiplied by 2, which will be in the ones column. And we begin to solve. We will have 4 rows. The value of each counter will be 10. And we will have a total of 7 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't have a huge amount of room here, so I won't write 10 in each of the counters today. And then 4 times 2. So we have our 4 rows and 2 columns. And then we begin to solve. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 plus. And we look at this one straight away, knowing that the value of each of these is 10. We know straight away we are going to definitely have to exchange. So we start counting up. We go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280. I want you to pause the video here and explain to an adult why this problem is different to the ones from yesterday. You know you need to exchange, but there is something else that's going on there as well. Hopefully you notice that because you have 280 in this column, that you will need to exchange more than once. So in this case, we count up 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. You circle as we always do, and then we draw our arrow and we exchange over our 100. You can go back and double check. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. But I can still see I've got lots and lots of counters there. So I want to highlight another 100 to exchange over. So I count them again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Draw my circle around. You must take care when you're drawing these circles. It's quite easy, especially mine are a little bit squished up today, to make those mistakes. And double check. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, I'm happy with that. Don't forget to exchange it over. This will be the second 100 I've exchanged over. And we're going to double check that we still don't need to exchange again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Because that's less than 100, we do not need to exchange. And then we count up our hundreds, 100, 200. And now we recombine. I say what I can see, I've got 288, and that will be my answer. For today's lesson, I would like you to solve similar problems to this one. Once again, you will need to draw your number sentence, partition your number. Draw your arrays with your hundreds, tens and ones. Count out your counters when you are solving the problems. Make sure your rows and your columns are equal. They cannot have an odd number in those rows or columns, otherwise it won't make sense. Solve the problems, then count up your answers. If you find you need to exchange, then you must exchange. Highlight the ones you have exchanged and go back and double check. Do you need to exchange for a second time? If you do, once again, follow the same pattern. Highlight the ones that need to be exchanged, exchange them over, double check. Solve the number problem by recombining the number, in this case 288, and write out your final answer. Best of luck. See you tomorrow.